Yeah, so we saw the whole family tree of the three daughters of Daksha. Yeah, okay. Okay, Atri Muni's prayers. Okay, we discussed about Atri Muni's prayers. Okay, okay. Then, yes, okay. Yes, authority means service and responsibility. Okay. Yeah, okay. Passion and ignorance lead to offense. Passion is next door neighbor to sin. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, management is is a function of responsibility. It's not a function of authority. Yeah. Good. Okay. So good. Some remembrances from yesterday. Okay. So yesterday we were seeing that how he cursed, and then upon seeing that Daksha cursed Lord Shiva, then Nandishwara also cursed the follower Bhrigu. Okay. Let's continue the translation.
Pretentiously religious householder life in which one is attracted to material happiness and thus also attracted to superficial explanation of the Vedas robs one of all intelligence and attaches one to fruitive activities as all in all.
Yeah, so he is just continuing his curse because he said that they will become attached to fruitive life. Okay, then now he is going to curse Daksha himself. Okay,
Daksha has accepted the body as all in all. Therefore, since he has forgotten the Vishnupad or Vishnugati and is attached to sex life only, within a short time he will have the face of a goat.
yeah, so you can see that this curse of Nandi it stayed back with Daksha even after he would actually go and beg forgiveness from Lord Shiva, but still he was attached to sex life. So the symptom of attachment to sex life is envy. That is a symptom of attachment to sex life. So as long as we are envious in our heart, one way or other, we should understand that we are attached to sex life. So there are different type of sex life. There is gross sex life and there is subtle sex life. So Prabhupada explains that gross sex life is man and woman. Subtle sex life is attachment to puja, lava, pratishtha. When one tries to be different, like tries to show himself as different from others, then we should understand that there is still attachment to sex life. So envy is the basic feeling which shows whether attachment to sex life is still there or it is not there. Okay.
Those who have become as dull as matter by cultivating materialistic education and intelligence are innocently involved in fruitive activities. Such men have purposely insulted Lord Shiva. May they continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death.
So this curse is directed towards those demigods who are actually um, smiling or they were making fun of Lord Shiva. So then all the brahmanas and demigods, everybody were cursed. Okay.
May, may those who are envious of Lord Shiva, being attracted by the flowery language of the enchanting Vedic promises, and who have thus become dull, always remain attached to fruitive activities.
Okay.
These Brahmanas take to education, austerity, and vows only for the purpose of maintaining the body. They shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. They will acquire money begging from door to door simply for the satisfaction of the body.
Okay. No, please read translation.
Okay, the word Durattaya is
No,
particular.
translation.
When all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by Nandishwara, the sage Bhrigu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahmanical curse.
Okay.
One who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from transcendental scriptural injections.
See, so now this is the counter curse. Okay.
Those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are also foolish, that they imitate him by keeping long hair on their heads. When initiated into worship of Lord Shiva, they prefer to live on wine, flesh, and such other things.
Hmm.
But when question comes, can I
Yeah.
ask you? But you were mentioning about this somebody having envy. It should be understood that he must have some lust, subtle or gross sex desire. With this gross lust, we apparently able to judge we have, but the subtle puja la pratishtha, yeah, other corollaries, we could not identify that I am affected by it. So any symptoms or how we can see in ourselves so that we understand this like detrimental for my spiritual practices.
Yeah. So in Bhagavatam, it is very clearly said that whatever we do, the purpose of doing that, it should be very clear. The purpose of doing that is only one purpose, that we should get attracted to Krishna consciousness. That's what is the purpose of doing everything. It says Atam Pupirjyeshta Varnashrama Bhagashaha Swanishtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. And then it says that Dharma Swanishtita Pumsam Visvakshena Katasuyaha Na Utpadayet Yatiratim Shramayevahi Kevala. So between these two shlokas, it becomes very clear that the very purpose of acting as the very purpose of acting as brahmachari or grahastha or vanaprastha or sannyasi is simply to get that attachment to Krishna. Okay. So then what happens when we are attracted by puja labha pratishtha? What happens when we are distracted from our path of Krishna consciousness? Is very directly we can see two things. One is that we become less interested in Krishna consciousness. We are not disinterested, but we become less interested in Krishna consciousness. And we become more interested in sense gratification. This is number one. Number two, we become more interested in designations within Krishna consciousness, rather than we become more interested in losing the designations in Krishna consciousness. Like for example, we become more interested that I am in such a such person, I should be given this type of respect. And that expectation becomes automatic. And when that expectation is not met, then there is some sort of, it goes and hits the mind and the heart. We become a little bit disturbed. So these things are very clear indication that there is problem. Like for example, in case of Lord Shiva, of course, Daksha insulted Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva did not react to that insult, right? But there's a whole lot of things which was happening in front of him. He did not stop that also. Later, when the Lord appears in Daksha Yajna, we'll find that everyone is apologetic to the Lord, including Lord Shiva. So there Prabhupada writes in the purport that everyone was at fault. It's not like only Daksha was at fault. Everyone was at fault. Daksha's fault is like, like highly amplified. But everybody has done something, contributed something to this whole scenario. Okay. So that is the point, that it becomes like those which are not pure devotional service becomes a part of our expectation. Like we start expecting some sort of respect. We start expecting some sort of privilege. It could be as simple as, when you just walk in, you wait, you expect everyone to just give way and, get you into the first position or whatever it is, or it could be some expectation that when you meet someone, they receive you in a certain way, okay, right? Or it could be some other expectations, like when you say something, you expect that people say, "Oh, this is nice," or whatever. It could be small things, it could be big things. It could be our attachment to some position that within Krishna consciousness, that it becomes very important for us to have some position. Or it may be attachment to some facility, that our service becomes conditional to availability of certain facilities. We start thinking that, if this facility is there, then I can do service. If it is not there, then I cannot do service. We have the main principle is that you are less interested in Krishna consciousness and you are more interested in rest of other things. When that is happening, then the shift is also obvious, because your chanting is more disturbed, your reading is more disturbed, your services are more disturbed, you are not the same person who you are. So then that's the warning sign that things are not going. And the other thing is that how well we accept the so-called reverses which comes to us. That's another important thing, that how well we accept it. If you see whole of Bhagavatam, everybody gets into trouble. This is the beauty with Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam, everybody is getting into trouble. And everybody is reacting to that getting into trouble. Right? So then we see a wide variety of reactions, like Parikshit gets into trouble. Parikshit is also insulted. Shringi cursing Parikshit is like an insult to him. Okay? Saumik Rishi gets insulted. Shiva gets insulted. Each one of them are getting insulted. But each one of them are reacting differently. And each one is reacting according to their level of Krishna consciousness. So that's another important thing to learn from Srimad Bhagavatam, that how do we look at reverses which happens in our spiritual life. We look at them as reverses or we look at them as opportunities. If we look at them as reverses, that means we need more maturity, still envy is there at heart. Still we think that Krishna doesn't know how great I am. So he is doing things which I don't deserve. But if we start seeing everything as opportunity, okay, this is an opportunity to become more Krishna conscious, this is an opportunity to become more Krishna conscious, then we are at least moving in the right direction. It may be disturbing in the beginning, but at least we should try to settle the disturbance and move in the right direction. That's very important. If we are not doing that, then that means the reverse is happening. Yes.
Daksha is a very envious personality, but Lord Shiva did not react. Lord Shiva did not react. So in that opposite party, this Bhrigu Muni was there. He is very well qualified Brahmana, but his curse appears to be very extreme. That he is cursing all the followers of Lord Shiva, that they will be
Correct.
deviated from.
Correct, because he got cursed.
The Brahman community got the curse, but he should be
Yeah.
leader of
So
the
that is the point. See, when something wrong happens to you, okay, just not reacting doesn't make you great. Okay, you have to do right thing also. Like for example, let's see. Okay, now you take the example of Parikshit. Okay, so Parikshit got cursed. So what all he did? What all he did? No, that's last. Before that, he did so many things.
Introspected himself that why I may have committed this mistake.
That is before getting cursed. He came and then he introspected. Okay, but after getting cursed, what all Parikshit did?
He immediately left all the.
Yes, first of all, let's say he did not react. Okay, he didn't counter curse. He could have counter cursed, or he could have nullified it. So he did not nullify. He didn't do both. Okay, this is the first thing. He didn't counter curse. He didn't nullify. Then he welcomed it. The Supreme Lord has graciously overtaken me in the form of the curse of a Brahmana. This is the translation which Prabhupada gives exactly to that verse. The Supreme Lord has, how he has overtaken? Graciously overtaken me in the form of the curse of a Brahmana. This is how Parikshit received that curse. He did not say, oh, what to do? The Lord has thrown me out. Now let me go to Ganga. He did not say that. He said, the Supreme Lord has graciously overtaken me. So he welcomed the curse. This is the second part. What is the third part he did? He utilized the curse. Okay. Left the kingdom. He utilized the curse. He did not say, okay, anyway, I got cursed, let me sit here and let me hear Krishna Katha in my palace. Anyway, I am going to die. So let me just eat every day paneer sabji, hear Krishna Katha and die. He did not do that. Okay? He left the kingdom. He utilized the curse. The curse was meant to relieve him from earthly obligations. He actually utilized the curse because death is relief from earthly obligations within this body. When someone dies, that means he is relieved of all his earthly obligations within this body. Now he will get new obligations according to his karma in a new body. But the obligations of that body is finished. So he utilized it. That is renunciation. Okay. Now finally what he did, he engaged in pure devotional service 24/7. You see, this much he did after getting one curse. Okay. Now you contrast it with Lord Shiva. He got cursed. What he did? Kept quiet. You see? You see the contrast between these two? And he didn't stop here. I will list more. He carried the curse in his heart. You see. Leadership is an act of responsibility. You have to understand this. If you don't understand this, you will cause havoc. Parikshit showed leadership. Lord Shiva showed tolerance. Tolerance is just not leadership. Tolerance is just not leadership. Leadership means tolerance, right understanding, renunciation, and devotional service. Okay. So, the point is, the most important aspect of Daksha Yajna is that when a person of authority doesn't set a good example, even though his followers may be exalted, they will all get affected by that behavior. They'll all get affected by that behavior. So therefore, it's very important. That's why Bhagavatam is very clear that if you want to take leadership position, you better be sure that what you want to do. So Daksha failed, Lord Shiva failed, naturally his followers also failed. All of them lost it. None of them for a moment thought that leadership means it is a position of responsibility. Daksha never thought about his responsibility. Lord Shiva never thought about his responsibility. Nandishwara never thought about his responsibility. Bhrigu never thought about his responsibility. Everyone was interested in showing their authority except Lord Shiva. He didn't show his authority. So therefore, in this pastime, when compared to others, Lord Shiva is great. Because at least he showed some Vaishnava quality of tolerance and he did not show authority. He did not show authority. But neither he showed responsibility. So therefore, when the Lord came, Lord Shiva also had to say things which he had to say to the Lord. Of course, please again and again don't misunderstand. This is like Prabhupada says that there is a Bengali proverb that teaching the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. There's a Bengali proverb. It means that we are getting taught by the behavior of all these exalted personalities. So, whenever we talk about them or whenever we analyze them, it is not to disrespect them. So, you should not misunderstand these things, right? We should also not try to disrespect them. We should not think that Nandishwara is crazy or Bhrigu is crazy, or for one moment we should not think that Lord Shiva is not very mature. We should not think like this, okay? It's just the Lord orchestrated the entire pastime so that we could learn many things from their respective behavior. So that's also we should be very careful. Ultimately, Bhagavatam says Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambho. So therefore, we should be careful. The question was why Bhrigu was irresponsible. Why he is a Brahmin? He should not have cursed. Why did he get into this whole cursing drama? So I just said nobody was responsible in this pastime. So everybody was more interested in showing power. Nobody was interested in showing responsibility. So in order to contrast, the best person in this whole pastime is Lord Shiva. Okay, so I took Shiva's example with Parikshit's example. So best among this lot is still falling behind. The reason why, because the whole assembly is just simply led by Daksha, and because everybody is not very mature, so then that immaturity of Daksha, it affects the whole assembly. There's also one more personality here, Lord Brahma. He also didn't do anything. He was also responsible. He even gave Daksha a promotion. You will see later.
Bhrugu's curse is applicable now also, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, yes. You will see that Nandishwara's curse is also applicable now, and Bhrugu's curse is also applicable now. That's why, the followers of Lord Shiva, they say Shivoham. And many of them, there are different denominations of followers of Lord Shiva. Many of them, they smoke ganja, they take intoxicants. Some of them, they sit on dead bodies and do upasana. All sorts of varieties of people, of followers of Lord Shiva are there. Yes.
So Prabhuji, this applies, like even we see that great souls in assembly of other souls, great souls. When the most popular conception is chose over others is based upon the votes, then even the great souls keep quiet. Even in ISKCON we see that they have no other option than accepting whatever majority is saying.
It's okay.
So same
But,
thing happened here also, Shiva case. Lord Shiva.
No, see, the thing is that there are things which you can do explicitly, but there are things which you can do not so explicitly. Okay. Like for example, let's say you find a situation where things are not very good. Okay. You always have the option of reporting it to Prabhupada and the deities. Okay. And that's a very important thing to do. That's a very important thing to do. You may not be in a position to take action, let's say, but you would surely know that something is going wrong. You can always go to the deities and tell the deities, see, I feel that this is something not very good, so please can you do something about it. So, and you can always tell Prabhupada, something is happening, can you please do something about it. And if something has to be done, they will definitely do. Don't think they will not do anything. You are thinking that they don't do. See, the point is that everyone is attached to a certain idea, right? And we want things to be done our way, right? But it may not be our way, it may be the way Prabhupada wants to do, it may be the way the deities want to do. So, it may not be exactly what you want, right? It's not what you want doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Or maybe your whole perception is wrong, that's also possible. That is also possible. That two devotees with the right intention may have opposite perceptions. If you want to have a nice example of that, that's Priyavrata's pastime. In the beginning of 5th canto, two Mahajans are differing with each other. It is said in Shastra, Mahajana yena gatasa pantaha, that one should follow the path of Mahajan. In the beginning of 5th canto, both Mahajans are standing in two opposite directions. Narada Muni and Swayambhu Manu. They both are standing in two opposite directions. Now one more Mahajan is coming to mediate between them, who is Brahma. And he brings a fourth Mahajan, who is Lord Shiva. So two Mahajans come to mediate between the dispute between two more Mahajans. And then they have to take reference of the Supreme Lord. So, It's a very interesting pastime because why? Normally we think that it is my way or highway, right? In the material world, we all think like that. I am right, other person is wrong. And especially if we hold opposite views, we think that I am right and he is wrong. But in that pastime, everybody is right, and they are holding opposite views. Everybody is right. So sometimes you may think something is going wrong, and it may not be going wrong. So you may be wrong. That is also possible, right? The idea is that you take always a position of responsibility, and then you do what you have to do. And if you have done that to the extent which you can do, then you can be satisfied also. And you can focus in Krishna consciousness. And if you still are not satisfied, then there's one more way. What is that? You should go and pray to the deity that give me the, what is that? Give me the authority to correct things. Okay. Then deity will give you the authority to correct things. And then you will see what fun happens. Sometimes people come and tell me, oh, GBC is doing so many things wrong. Then I tell them, why don't you become GBC? Let's see what you will do. I know one devotee, one group of devotees who are having a lot of problem with the management in one temple. Okay. So they used to discuss with me this problem, that problem, and things like that. I give them some whatever advice, little bit I could give them. Then finally, these devotees who were against the temple management became the management. Okay. And now, of course, we know them very well, I know them very well, they know me very well. Now they are seeking advice from me. But they are seeking advice from me saying that these people are talking against us like this, these people are talking against us like this, now what to do? I told, see, as long as you're not in management, you have the luxury of criticizing somebody. The moment you are management, everybody will criticize you. This you have to expect. This you have to expect. You have to expect. So you go and tell the deity that, please give me the responsibility, I will try to do something. The deity will give you a responsibility, and then you will know what it means to be the position of responsibility. Then people will criticize you, you will become very humble. At least that will happen. What is that? You will become very humble. Become very humble. It's good for you. It's good. Yeah?
Bhrigu testing who is supreme. So that happened after this pastime or before this pastime? Bhrigu is brother of Shiva, by the way.
Yeah. So I really don't know the chronology, whether it happened before that or after that. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. I am not very good with chronology of pastimes, because I am not very scholarly person knowing Puranas and things like that. The only exposure I have is to Srimad Bhagavatam, and to some extent Mahabharata and Ramayana I heard when I was a kid. Now I am trying to read Ramayana. But I am not so familiar with other Puranas. I have not done research as to what pastime comes after, what pastime comes before. So I am not the right person to answer this type of question. But both of them are explained in Bhagavatam. Both the pastimes are there in Bhagavatam. Yes.
The curses, counter curses,
Yeah.
the envious behavior.
Yes.
When we see in our life, it boils down to if we are focusing on our self-purification,
Yeah.
then all these situations coming, then we will not able to, we will not able to react in such situation, because self-purification, the focus is on there. As soon as we miss this point, as you mentioned, Prabhuji, taking responsibility, accepting responsibility of our Krishna consciousness, and accepting responsibility of other Krishna consciousness, means if I react in an improper way to other Vaishnava, my subordinate in this situation, something like that, then he also will not become Krishna conscious. I miss the responsibility. And if I commit offenses, I am not, taking responsibility of my Krishna consciousness. So this things are boiled down to this, Puji, as you mentioning, that my self-purification, then such situation in a Vaishnava society will be avoided. As soon as we miss the goal, the whole purpose of existence, or I am coming to ISKCON, or is this only that I get purified.
Oh, okay, it's a nice thought, but we are not coming to ISKCON to get purified. Just to clarify, we are coming to ISKCON to fall in love with Krishna. But in order to fall in love with Krishna, we have to get purified. So if we take self-purification as goal, then it becomes contamination of mode of goodness. So I am not saying self-purification is not required, but I am just saying that we should be clear that why we come to ISKCON. Right? So other than that, whatever you said is fine. As long as we are keeping in focus two things. See, we have to sometimes give correction to people. Okay. So it is unavoidable because all of us are some sort of authorities. So we need to offer correction to people. It may be simple correction, it may be big correction. It depends on what kind of correction we need to offer. So offering correction is unavoidable when we come to Krishna consciousness, when we become preachers. Okay, you have to tell people that material life is wrong. You have to come to spiritual life. You have to tell them that, don't be attached to money, wealth, whatever, These are all some sort of offering. Preaching is some sort of offering correction only. Okay, we are trying to course correct people by preaching Krishna consciousness. In the process, when we do it to a mass of people, it's okay, it's called preaching, because we just refer scripture and then speak something. Yeah. But sometimes we also have to do one-to-one. We'll have to offer corrections to people one-to-one because that's part of our service. So whenever we offer correction, we should always keep this in mind, that I am responsible for my own Krishna consciousness, I am responsible for the Krishna consciousness of the person for whom I am giving correction. If we keep that in mind, then most of the time we can peacefully offer correction. We can peacefully offer correction.
Very nicely you came out with this slogan, Puji. Management means responsibility for one's Krishna consciousness, others' Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Puji.
Okay, let's continue. Let's let Bhrigu curse.
Bhrigu Muni continued, since you blaspheme the Vedas and the Brahmanas, who are followers of the Vedic principles, it is understood that you have already taken shelter of the doctrine of atheism.
Translation. The Vedas give eternal regulative principle for auspicious advancement in human civilization, which have been rigidly followed in the past. The strong evidence of this principle is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is called Janardhan, the well-wisher of all living entities.
By blaspheming the principles of the Vedas, which are the pure and supreme path of the saintly persons, certainly you followers of Bhutapati, Lord Shiva, will descend to the standard of atheism without a doubt.
Okay.
The sage Maitra said, when such cursing and counter-cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became very morose. Not saying anything, he left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples.
Okay. Curses are easy to find, but it is a job of the preacher to be the channel for the blessings of the Lord. Blessings are very rare to find. Okay, that's my notes. Okay, let's read, continue.
The sage Maitreya continued, O Vidura,
All the progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years. For sacrifice, it is best way to worship the Supreme Lord, Hari, the
Okay.
personality of Godhead.
My dear Vidur, career of bows and arrows, all the demigods who were performing the sacrifice took their bath at the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna after completing the yajna performance. Such a bath is called Avabhrit Snan. After thus becoming purified in heart, they departed for their respective abodes.
Okay. So we'll now examine the purports. Very interesting purports of Prabhupada. Okay.
Even
Music.
even if he is an enemy or is sometimes angry, such a personality cannot be the object of envy. So Vidura, in astonishment, asked why he was taken especially by Daksha. Daksha is also not an ordinary person. He is a Prajapati in charge of fathering population, and all his daughters are highly elevated, especially Sati. The word Sati means the most chaste.
Yeah, so this is the surprise of Vidura, because generally amongst great personalities there should not be any envy amongst great personalities. There could be difference of opinion, but there should not be any envy. Again, we go back to the pastime of Priyavrata. So in that pastime, it is very specifically said that there was dispute between Swayambhu Manu and Narada Muni with respect to whether Priyavrata should get married and rule the kingdom or he should remain Naishtika Brahmachari. Okay, this is the dispute. Okay, in this dispute, Lord Brahma came with Lord Shiva and then he told that the Supreme Lord wants Priyavrata to get married and rule the kingdom. So now the ruling has gone against Narada Muni. And Narada Muni was training Priyavrata not for 1 year, new Bhakta program 1 year, not for 2 years. He was training Priyavrata from the time of Uttannapad's rule all the way up to the, no, his sons, Prachetas, all the way up to the Prachetas. Multiple generations have gone and Narada Muni was actually training Priyavrata. So this is not a short commission or short attachment between Narada Muni and Priyavrata. And now Swayambhu wants to come and take his brahmachari away from him and he wants to put him in his department for his service. So he is saying, no, he cannot be brahmachari now. Now I will take him out of the ashram because I have some other service for him. I will take him for my service. I cannot give him for your service. Now typical, it happens in ISKCON also, no? So like that. But the most important thing in that pastime is that it is very clearly mentioned that Narad Muni and Priyavrata accepted the decision of Brahma without any resentment in their heart. This is a very important aspect of the pastime. It's not that they simply accepted the decision, अभी क्या करेगा बोल दिया, अभी लॉर्ड का भी नाम बोल रहा है, छोड़ो यार, अभी क्या करेगा, अभी टेम्पल प्रेसिडेंट को बोल रहा है, ये बोल रहा है, वो बोल रहा है, लेके जाओ ब्रह्मचारी को, छोड़ो यार मुझे. It's not like that. There was no resentment in the heart of Narad Muni and Priyavrata. It's specifically mentioned in the shloka. It's specifically mentioned in the shloka there that without resentment in the heart, Narad Muni sent Priyavrata. So there could be differences amongst devotees, but if there is envy, which is the cause of the difference, then there is resentment in heart. If there is envy, which is the cause of difference, then there is what? Resentment in heart. In the heart, there is some little bad taste. So, that is something which we should look for, within our heart. When we are facing an unfavorable situation, then is there resentment in our heart, or we are satisfied with it? Okay, this is what Krishna wants. That means it should be good. That means it should be good. I have tried my best. I have tried to stop it. I am unable to stop it. Now this is what Krishna wants. So that means it should be okay. Should be okay. Or let us try and see what Krishna as time will do. Till the time I am happy to do what I can do. So that's very important aspect. But here we see that each of them kept something in their heart. Each of them kept something in their heart. Okay, please read.
In other words, he was in complete knowledge that he was speaking against Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's spotless character. As far as envy is concerned, from the very beginning he was envious of Lord Shiva. Therefore, he could not distinguish his own particular envy.
From the very beginning he was envious of Lord Shiva. So he thought that he is all right. He thought he is all right. He has to criticize Shiva, and he has the position to criticize Shiva, and he is actually doing something good for Lord Shiva. He is showing him his place. All that he was thinking. So he was unable to actually distinguish his envy towards Lord Shiva. And what was the reason for his inability to distinguish his envy towards Lord Shiva?
Ignorant of Lord Shiva's position.
He was more attached to his position. He was more attached to his position. He was thinking, I am Daksha, I am Prajapati, I am father-in-law of Lord Shiva. Okay. He was more attached to his position, which comes from bodily conception of life. He was more attached to his position, which comes from bodily conception of life. This is a very important lesson which we should learn. That we may be given different positions as we do different services. We may be given different positions. We should understand that these positions are meant to increase our service. These positions are meant what for what? To increase our service. These positions are not meant to increase our prestige, or not meant to increase our power. They are not meant to do all those things, even though they may come with all those things. They may come with prestige, they may come with power, they may come with authority. But the real purpose of having a position in a spiritual organization is neither authority, nor power, nor prestige, is simply increase of service. Is simply increase of service. But if we don't understand that, and if we get attached to the position itself, then we should understand that this is like an attachment of Daksha to his own. And when we get attached to that position like that, then we will lose the ability to take criticism. We will be very good in giving criticism, but we will lose the ability to accept criticism. Lose the ability to accept criticism. It's very important to, especially in a spiritual organization, is very, very important to have the ability to accept and digest criticism and take it to improve ourselves in Krishna consciousness. However, we think that it might be unjustified. However, we think it might be unjustified. We may think, oh, this criticism is not at all justified. This person is me, he's just criticizing me. You may think like that. But if you actually take that criticism and see if you can do something with it positive, then you will find that the criticism is quite useful, irrespective of the fact that he may be envious. He may be envious. That's okay. That is not our problem. That is his problem. That is his problem that he is envious. But our problem is to simply recognize that he is envious and then to give up one opportunity to improve ourselves in Krishna consciousness. That is our problem. If we do that, then it becomes our problem. Yeah. So we should always be open. Then we will not fall into this trap. We will not fall into this trap. Okay, please read.
For example, he stated that Shiva is Yashogna, which means one who spoils name and fame. So this can also be interpreted to mean that he was so famous that his fame killed all other fame. Again, Daksha used the word Nirapatrapa, which also can be used in two senses. One sense is one who is stunted, and another sense is one who is the maintainer of persons who have no other shelter.
So, Goddess Saraswati, she is very intelligent. She always wants to glorify the Lord and the devotees. That is why whenever somebody speaks against the Lord or speaks against the devotee, then you will find that there are always two meanings, and those two meanings are opposite to each other. One meaning is that this fellow is saying that, you know, he is useless, that this. The other meaning is that, oh, he is great, there is nobody like him, etc. So this way, Goddess Saraswati always makes sure that the devotees and the Lord are always glorified. Even when Hiranyaksha was criticizing Varahadev, then there also we find the same thing, that he is criticizing, but he is actually glorifying. He is actually glorifying. You find few places like that. Okay. Okay, please read.
This restriction that unless one has acquired the Brahmanical qualification, one should not read the Vedic literatures. It is like a restriction that a law student should not enter a law college, unless he has been graduated from lower grades, from all lower grades.
Yeah, because Prabhupada writes this specifically because you know, there are crazy people all over the world, or in India, or in our place. They are so much against Varnashram. They say, oh, why the Shudra cannot read the Vedas? This is such a big injustice. Why only Brahman should read Vedas? Why Shudra cannot read Vedas? All this they criticize. So Prabhupada gives a very common world example, that unless you are qualified to study law, you are not allowed to study law. Just like why Shudra cannot study Vedas. Why? Okay, you give the knife in the hand of anybody and then ask him to do operation. Why only surgeon should do operation? Why there should be injustice? Why surgeon should be considered great? He only should be given knife to cut people. Give it to anybody. Give it to one pawn shop wala. Let him go into the operation theatre and do operation. Can we call it a social justice? We cannot call it a social justice, because he is just unqualified to do an operation. So same way, Prabhupada gives a very real world example of how qualifications works in Varnashram. Okay.
Daksha was repentant that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. He was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as Parameshti, the supreme teacher in the universe. Because of his temperament of gross anger, he was not even prepared to accept Brahma as his father. In other words, he accused even Brahma of being less intelligent, because he had advised Daksha to hand over his beautiful daughter to such a nasty person.
So this is another aspect of offense. When we commit offense, we lose respect to all natural authorities. This is another aspect of offensive mentality. That when we have this offensive mentality, then we tend to indiscriminately criticize everybody. We don't think that there are some authorities who naturally they have to be respected. Respecting doesn't mean that you have to give up your intelligence and accept whatever everybody says. Prabhupada never wanted that kind of thing. Prabhupada wanted us to be independently intelligent, to understand what is right, what is wrong, etc. But at the same time, we should also not lose respect for natural authorities in Krishna consciousness, especially in an institution. There are natural authorities. Those authorities who are holding different positions in the institution, they are all natural authorities. So we should always have respect for them. We may agree with them, we may disagree with them. That's a different story. Okay? But we should never lose respect for them. This is very important. And when we start losing respect for natural authorities, then we should understand that we are committing offenses. We should very clearly understand this. And that's what is happening here. Daksha simply called his father Brahma as Parameshti, the supreme teacher. What kind of teacher this fellow is? What kind of teacher this fellow is? He doesn't even know that who should be married to whom. Doesn't even know who should be married to whom. And he gave such an idea, and he is called as Parameshti. That's why he called him as Parameshti. Parameshtina. I said, what is this? Okay. Okay.
It was due to the curse of Daksha, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti comments in this connection that Lord Shiva was saved from the calamity of taking part with the other demigods, who were all materialist. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is not befitting for him to eat or sit with materialistic persons like the demigods. Thus the curse of Daksha was indirectly a blessing, for Shiva would not have to eat or sit with the other demigods who were too materialistic.
You see, now we are thinking that Shiva got cursed. But our acharyas are explaining that it is not the curse for Lord Shiva. It was actually good for Lord Shiva, because he did not have to sit with all those materialistic demigods. So this itself is a good lesson for us. We should not always judge things by externally what is happening to us. Externally it may look like a reverse for us. Sometimes some things may happen within the institution. Externally it may look like something which is a reverse for us. It may look like, we are losing some position, or we are losing some authority, or we are losing some, or people are unnecessarily criticizing us, whatever it is. But we should always understand that Krishna is our well-wisher. We should always understand this. So that means there will be always something good for that in us, for us. So if you understand that, then it is easy. Either we can understand that by our own intelligence, or if we don't have that own intelligence, we should try to understand that with some borrowed intelligence. We should go to some senior devotee, and then we should discuss with them that how can I get some benefit out of this unfavorable situation? How can I improve my Krishna consciousness within this unfavorable situation? What can I do? How can I improve my Krishna consciousness? We should discuss with them. So they will give us some idea that how to do that, then we can be peaceful. Okay? Please read.
In Bhagavad Gita, therefore it is advised that one who desire to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid three things: lust, anger, and mode of passion. Actually, we can see the lust, anger, and passion make a man crazy, even though he be a great as Daksha.
Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offenses toward a Vaishnava to a mad elephant. As a mad elephant can do anything horrible, so when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable action.
So it's very important not to offend Vaishnavas. Vaishnava aparadh we should always try to avoid. Because if you do Vaishnava aparadh, then it's very, very difficult that our whole Krishna consciousness will be in jeopardy. And then, in order not to do Vaishnava aparadh, now we should avoid three things. What is that? Lust, anger, and mode of passion. We discussed this before also. That mode of passion means it's very easy to do offenses. It's very easy to do offenses. Okay. Now, yes. So, as far as senior is concerned, if he is having some offensive dealing with a particular person, okay, and if he is unable to do something with him, he should see that he will have somebody whom he likes, some senior person whom he likes, right? He should take help of that person to see if he can correct him. Like he somebody is junior to me, but he is always offensive towards me, and he is always criticizing me. So whatever I say, he is not going to listen, because he in his mind it is already set कि ये आदमी बेकार है. Okay. So now there is no point we trying to do something to him, because you are not going to redeem him by your own effort. So you should go to some other person whom he likes, or some neutral person, and then you should tell him this guy is going through some difficulty, he is having some problem. Why don't you just try to help him? Talk to him, try to help him, make him see try to make him understand. Then it may work much better, because you are not directly dealing with him, or you are not trying to justify yourself with him, because if he is offensive towards you, that means he has some grievance against you. So instead of you yourself justifying all these things, you may leave it to somebody neutral, and accept that whatever that neutral person says. The neutral person may come back and say that, "Arey, he has a point, man, why are you doing like this?" Then you should not get angry with him. "अरे उसको कन्विंस करने के लिए तुमको भेजा, तो तुम मुझे कन्विंस करने के लिए आ रहा है, क्या नाटक चल रहा है?" It should not be like that. No. It may be true, you may not be able to see, like Daksha is unable to see his envy, no? So like that, many times we may not be able to see our own envy. So then somebody else, if you get involved, then that person may be able to see, "अरे इसका भी fault है इसमें कुछ." So he will come and say, "अरे तुम थोड़ा सा क्यों adjust नहीं करता है?" Then we should be open to that also, right? That's a good way of doing it. Yeah. Correct. With whomever you are expecting respect, you should try to do some menial service to them. That's a good way of doing it. And go to a place where you are nobody. Go and spend some time in a place where you are nobody. No, not that you are alone, where you are nobody. Where you are nobody. Like nobody knows you. You are like another devotee. And you are not like some big brahmachari who has some hundreds of followers and then you walk like this. No. Just go to a place where you are nobody, nobody knows you. And then just try to be there, do some nice service. It makes you a little humble. And then you can come back after 1 week, a little bit more humble, a little bit more balanced. So it's always good in Krishna consciousness to be in a place, at least for some times in a year, to be in a place where no one knows how great you are. Just go there, do some simple work, do some simple service, and then come back. It's always good. That's good for you. That's good for you. And when you go there, don't try to arrange everything like, I'm already going there, udhar kaun brahmachari hai, usko bolo. Don't do all that. Just go there, just be some simple devotee, like new bhakta, do something and come back. It's good. Makes at least it helps a lot. For me, I always I like it, because especially in Mayapur, you are there in Mayapur for I'm there for now almost 14 years. So even the dog knows me there. So it's very difficult to be in Mayapur as nobody. In the beginning, I was like that. When I came to Mayapur, it was very nice. Nobody knew me. I was like nobody. And it was nice to be like that, especially after being in my own yatra in Middle East I was in Dubai. There I had some position. I was for some time. So, you know, if you are there for some time in ISKCON, naturally they give you this, you know, tag that you are senior devotee. So then from there I came to Mayapur. I was nobody for 2 years, 3 years I was nobody. Then I was enjoying that time very nicely. But Krishna didn't keep me very happy for a long time. It's okay. But then wherever I go, that's why I try to be a little bit low key. Bhakti Prachar Parvajak Maharaj once he gave a lecture. You know him? Yeah, he once gave a lecture. He said that it is nice when you go to temples where you are not known, it is nice to always stand in the queue and get your things done. I find it very, very practical advice. Very practical advice. Because if you are in a temple where you are known, okay, if you stand in the queue, you cut the queue, really doesn't matter. You know, it's okay. If you want, you can cut the queue. If you want, you can stand in the queue. If you stand in the queue, also people will say, "Arey, why are you standing in the queue? Go front." If you cut the queue, people don't mind. You know, they'll say, "Okay, anyway, he's senior. He's cutting the queue. He's going." But when you go to a place where nobody knows you, if you stand in the queue, it looks very nice. Okay, then you are like no one. You are just going in the queue. You are getting your things done. It does a lot good for your false ego. So you can try these things. Okay, so we should avoid lust, anger, and mode of passion. It's very important, very, very important. One of the greatest struggles I have seen with devotees is their inability to give up mode of passion. And because of that, the consequence of that, many times I have seen that devotees struggle like anything. So this is something which very seriously we should take it. That we should try to consciously come out of mode of passion. Consciously we should try to come out of mode of passion. Otherwise, we should understand that we are always prone to offenses. Okay. So we'll take Gayatri break. It's 12:10. Take 10 minutes break. We'll do Gayatri and then we'll continue at 12:20. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.